So welcome everybody to Sohmalife Sundays. My name is Reverend Lynn, LaBorde, and I and my co-host, Robert Scarpa. Oh gosh, I guess it was last summer of 2020. Rob approached me and he said, "Hey, I have this idea about doing, like a little kind of talk show talking about spirit." And I said, "That's a great idea. I'd be happy to host it with you." And thus Sohmalife Sundays was born. And we've had almost 30 guests in these last September, October, November, December, January, February, March, last 7 months. And it's just
Yeah.
delightful. It's been this really, really fun journey. So one of the things that I love to start off with is I always ask Rob, who's an incredible channel. He does channeled writings, incredible writings from a variety of ascended masters and beings who come and give incredible messages for humanity. And so I always liked Rob to start out with a little bit of the story of how he got here, and then ask him to read one of his writings. And then we'll be spending some time talking with Kelly Brown, a very good friend of ours from Long Island. We all met in Huntington, and sharing her pretty remarkable journey with the spirit as well. So Rob, please take it away, my love.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right. How did I get here? I like to think you remember at the beginning of Mork and Ork, the original? He landed in an egg and he just felt like, wait a second, what the hell am I doing here? Well, that's what it's been like lately. But this automatic writing is just an extension of the spiritual journey I started about 5-6 years ago. And met many of you on this that are here tonight on the screen on this journey. We've all been doing it together and watching each other expand in all different aspects and techniques of it. Kelly, a phenomenal live channel like Lynn is. Lloyd, the automatic writing, Norbert, medium and channel and automatic writer, and big fan of Saint Germain. And Carla, oh my gosh, she's been channeling Saint Germain like this. It's unbelievable. So everybody here, we're all, Joanne, I've recently met about a year ago. And then my two sisters, I have Rory and Jackie right here. So Rory's been on this with me since day one, because we, I think, met Norbert the first time together. And Jackie, she's been on her own journey. And just in the last 2 years, Jackie has started to ask me questions. It's just been expanding for her exponentially within the sequence, the Fibonacci sequence. Beautiful. So that's where it's at. That's the story of where we're at. Lately, I've been asking the Divine Director for a lot of advice and assistance and Saint Germain. And I have a message from the Divine Director that I want to share. Just bear with me if I stumble. It's not typed out yet, as some of them I get to type out, other ones they're still in ink form. All right. So I asked the Divine Director, do you have a message for me to share with the collective? Greetings, dear one, and thank you for the request of presence your day. Much can be said or conveyed, but what is to be shared is this. The expansion of the light quotient among incarnates dwelling on and in Gaia is growing. The power being applied through the energies of love and compassion is growing at a rate not expected by the dark. Each moment that transpires is another opportunity for expansion, and the light has won, for there is no stopping this train. Liberation and emancipation of humanity is what is now occurring, and as expected, many are beginning to see the light of their own divinity, and it is there to guide them and guide their way back to your true self. Do not be distracted by what is put forth by your media in all its many forms. It is merely a tool of the cabal at so many levels. The disruptions witnessed by so many world leaders has caused many to take pause and reevaluate their relationships with all countries. No one knows who to trust and who to thrust. This is all part of the complete and total restructuring of governance upon Gaia. I asked, how is the Galactic Federation and Ashtar doing at this time. Not to worry, all is fine. All is actually going better than some might have expected. Many of the dark forces are laying down their arms and fleeing this planet or sphere without haste, for they know the jig is up. With each expulsion or conversion of dark energy comes a new thrust of light that adds to the quotient of receptivity among incarnates. Moment by moment, things are changing. Things are occurring that may surprise some, but it is no surprise to your galactic family. The time has come for all to unite in love and friendship. That was our calling, and rejoice in the reuniting of souls and the purging of darkness. This is the return to oneness, and greater will be the forces that have come and assembled now to complete the mission. Commander Ashtar and his team delight in the efforts of all who mention the phrase, the Light One, for it is a shot in the arm needed to overcome these last vestiges of darkness entrenched so deeply in the psyche and mindset of so many who have bought into the false narrative and distorted reality portrayed through all types of education, entertainment, and lifestyle. The truth is what is coming out, and it is having a tremendous effect on so many. Be not concerned with the details and simply trust in your efforts to support our teams assembled. Begin to celebrate the victories, and that will add additional strength and power to the mission as we continue to mop up this mess that has falsely and selfishly controlled so much of humanity for far too long. This is another day of balance upon Gaia, and it begins a fresh new cycle of rebirth, growth for much of the planet. So continue to plant those seeds of victory and watch them grow into the garden of abundance for one and all who choose the light. Bless you and thank you for your service, Divine Director.
Beautiful. I love your commitment to saying the light, the light has won. I think that every time we affirm that, it just becomes more and more evident.
Well, it's the collective consciousness, and we're just, like you said, the shot in the arm. It's like a shot in the arm to the collective. Hey, Deborah, and that's. I mean, it's been consistent now for over 2 months in the messages, at least every other day, if not every day. And it doesn't matter who the energy or entity is that's coming in with the message. They're all saying the same thing. The Light One, repeat the Light One, continue to add it. The instructions back in February, I think it were, that, we all set up a time where we all can set an alarm on our phone and just think of it. You don't even have to call each other, just think of it. So then I had said a month ago, I said, let's just do it at 11 minutes after the hour. Everybody's always catching it at 11:11, 1:11, right? So at 11 after the hour all the time, the Light One, I get a text from somebody, or I send a text to somebody, or I see somebody post the Light One, my sisters, my brothers, friends. So it's catchy and it works. And it's an easy way for us to help without having to, do the astral traveling and try and lend energies from that perspective, being the space cowboys and stuff. We can stay here on the earth, hold the energy, stay grounded, and still send just as much power up into the universe to finish this battle,
It's beautiful.
So it's all good. And like I was saying, we've started this journey together. So many of us, all of us have, Deborah. That's what I was talking about before I read the message. And it was about how we've all been on this together, and we're all familiar with each other, and these messages, sometimes I feel like they're very specific to me or almost personal. I don't want to read them because I'm like, even though I ask for a message to share with the collective or the group, they come in and then someone, a message came to me the other day that said, no, everybody else gets so much from the messages, even though you feel that it's specific to you. There's another piece of that message or a thread of that message that hits everybody else in the room, at all different points. And everybody always gets what they need from these, Some people always put on these messages at the end, take what resonates and leave the rest, you know. So there's so many things, there's so many topics within them. But does anybody have any questions regarding any specific part of it, or we just bring on Kelly Brown?
Thank you, Rob. I love your messages. I'm always inspired whenever I read them. And I feel like they're speaking to me too. So there's that. I know that we're in a reflective universe where everybody is a mirror of us, but I also feel like it's magnetic at the same time. Like we draw to us the people and the lessons that we need to learn. And I read one of your things and you're like, this was for me. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was for me. So I thank you for that. So Kelly is dear to me. She was actually the first person that I mentored when I started doing my mentoring several years ago. And she worked in Huntington, where Rob and I both had our homes, and started coming to the Sohmalife Sanctuary, and was one of the very first people, just started signing up for all kinds of things, did channeling training with Wendy Gale, which has been an extraordinary journey. And we invited Kelly to be here tonight because one of the beings that Kelly has been working with has been Lord Metatron himself. So Kelly, I wondered if you could just share with us your journey with spirit, because it's been pretty remarkable.
It has. It really has. It started probably about the same time as Rob, 5-6 years ago, but was sort of instigated by my very close, dearest friend, like my sister, Yvonne Giovinco, who is on tonight. And we've been weaved in and out of each other's lives for like 20 years. And this time we weaved back in, and she was like, Kelly, why don't you come to church with me? I'm like, okay, what kind of church? She goes, I go to a spiritualist church. It's with Winterbrook Ryan.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, I'll do that, because I've always felt different. I was always different than everyone in my surrounding. I always felt out of place and didn't belong, and just didn't feel like I had a community that was that understood. My family told me I was crazy. I'm sure so many of us have had that same response from our family. But so I'm like, okay, Yvonne, I'll give it a shot. And I started going to church. And then I started getting into Winter's classes, into mediumship and doing things like that. And I was always very scared of spirit as a child. I was always really terrified. So the thought of doing any of this, especially to my family, was like, are you crazy, Mom? But I did. And so we went on, and actually at that time you went on, Lynn, to a radio show with Winter. Yep. And that was the first time I saw you. Didn't even know of you, but I saw you and I went, oh my gosh, I have to get to know this woman. Her energy is beautiful. You were calm and your energy was just, it was so beautiful. And I was like, wow. I'm like, she's just, I don't know who she is, but I have to meet this woman. So I took mediumship classes, and then I was getting into other spiritual classes. Sarah Curley started doing The Light of Amana at the Inspired Soul. What happened to team up for a while at the Inspired Soul.
Yeah.
And met you there. And I was like, I was like, your energy is beautiful. You're like, oh my God, I love your energy. And we just clicked. We just really hit it off. So that was how we intertwined, and Yvonne intertwined. And I kept at Winters. But then I was taking these classes, and I said to beautiful little Alicia Mignon, who was taking classes with us, I'm like, I feel like I'm being possessed, because I wasn't so great at mediumship back then. I think I was afraid of it more so. I said, I feel like there's this really big, gigantic man behind me with this big, big, strong voice that wants to talk. And I think I'm going crazy. And she laughed at me. She said, you're not going crazy. There is somebody that wants to talk. You'll find out about it. I can't tell you. That's when then you said, somehow we got back in, you and I, Lynn, and you said, Wendy is this great channel. I know this person. She's really great. Why don't you try channeling? I think you're going to be, and I'm like, Okay.
I
And
think
that,
there were 12 of you in that class
yes.
at the Inspired Soul upstairs.
Inspiring soul, yes.
And Alicia was in that class with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And Michelle Griffins.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That was
And then, yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. It was just, it was life changing, life changing. And I think before that happened, I was very drawn to go to, oh my gosh, why can't I think the name of it now? Upstate in Buffalo, the big spiritualist community. Somebody help me out. Why can't I think of it?
It's
I
the
didn't
one
know there was one in Buffalo.
where Winter teaches.
Yes.
Lilydale? Lilydale?
Oh, that's in Buffalo?
Thank
That's
you,
it.
that's it.
Lilydale. Thank you,
I have
Deb.
no idea what Lilydale was, what anything, but I heard Winter talk about it. I'm like, I have to go there. I have to go there. I don't know why, but I have to go there. It was a week before she was teaching class there. They were like, if you can get I don't know if you're going to get anywhere to stay. Everything's booked. 2 people were there. They said, we have 2 rooms. We'll bunk together. You can take one of ours if you can find a way there. I found a flight. I went to Lilydale. I was going to go see mediums with people. They were totally sold out. Winter's like, why don't you come with me? I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to a physical trance meeting.
Okay.
I think we lost her for a moment.
She's frozen.
Yeah, she'll come back.
Yep.
It's so fascinating to see how all of our lives have intertwined.
Sure.
That same radio show where Kelly became aware of me through Winter is where I met Michelle Griffins. And it's, Winter taught many, many classes at the Sohmalife Sanctuary. Really
So
remarkable.
it's funny that she brings up Winter, because my sister brought me to see Winter very early on, 10 years ago.
Which one?
Rory. She brought me up. She said, come and see this medium. So we went and saw her. And then a year or so later, I started, well, maybe 2 years searching. And that's when I met Norbert. And I kept Norbert, and I kept asking people, does anybody know this Summer Brook? And nobody knew who Summer Brook was. And I was asking for like a year and a half, 2 years, and nobody knew. I'm like, but this lady was at a library. She had a whole room full of people, and nobody knew. So I called my sister one day. I said, Rory, I said, where was that lady Summer Brook? I thought she was local. She says, Rob, you're an idiot. Her name is Winterbrook. And then I type in Winterbrook, comes right up on YouTube. And the exact event that we were at the Huntington Library, right there with me in the room.
Oh God, how funny.
And that's when she, and they had edited it because it was some student was doing it for a class. So it wasn't even Winter's posting. And it went right to me. And the questions the questions I had asked, and the messages she was giving me. And my sister was not sitting right next to me. She was sitting 1 seat away, pretending that she wasn't with me, but she's the one who dragged me there.
That's so
Boy,
funny.
Winter she hit it out of the park.
There are signs from spirit everywhere. I was going out to dinner at about 4 o'clock last night with my best friend, and on my keychain is the remote for the car, and it's also the remote for the garage. And it must have gotten jostled in my purse. It's very sensitive. And all of a sudden the garage door goes up, and I'm like, oh no, not this again. And I go over to the garage, and the garage is flooded with water. And I'm like, what on earth? I had heard water running, and I hadn't run any dishes. I hadn't done any laundry. And it so turned out that the water heater had burst, and there was water that was just running everywhere. So I was able to find a valve, turn it off, called my landlord, told her what was going on. But I was like, thank God that the garage door had mistakenly opened, because I looked in there earlier. I didn't see anything. It was just making some cycling noise.
Why would you say it mistakenly opened? Aren't we supposed to be trusting more and more in source and spirit to give us signs and help us out?
Rob, there's trauma with my garage, because it has the big button and then these 2 other little buttons, which either has the door go all the way down and then it automatically opens up again, or it goes halfway down and then it automatically opens up again, or it goes 3/4 of the way down and automatically. So it's always a thing with the garage. Anyway,
Kelly's
so it
back.
felt like a
Hey,
mistake
welcome back,
instead of a
Kelly.
miracle. Hey, Kelly.
Sorry, my
No, I
internet
mean,
just
you know what?
went.
This is what I was told. I was told that he showed up, and when he showed up behind you, because you were talking about him, it blew out the energy.
That wouldn't surprise me because I felt him.
I know.
felt him behind me.
I know,
So
I know.
I apologize.
No,
Okay.
babe, there's nothing to apologize for.
So
So the he that we're talking about is the being that both Wendy and Kelly channel, and he's a very big energy. So it doesn't it's no mistake to me. No mistake again. It's more of a miracle that
Yes.
all that energy. So you want to talk a little more about your relationship with him? And so you
Oh,
took
sure,
channeling training.
sure. I sort of I was doing all that because I was talking before because it all sort of intertwined into how everyone comes together and nothing is by chance, really. It's all predestined.
Exactly.
So I took channeling with Wendy 1 and 2. I'm now in advanced channeling, which is very funny because Deborah, who's on right now, was just picked to be my partner, and she's going into her own area. But it's very funny that you're here tonight, Deborah.
That's so cute. So cute. And
Channel
Joanne Cooper is here with you too. Joanne's in that advanced channeling.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, there are a bunch of us that started that.
Yes. So I've been channeling Metatron for probably a year. Well, since I've really taken class, although it came in automatic writing first, I didn't fully go into trance channel. It was automatic writing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. So I've been channeling. He's now integrated with me, and he obviously. So his big energy that I always felt around me is very different now. As a matter of fact, several months ago, I thought he left. I was like, where'd you go? I don't feel you around me. And it was because he's integrated into me. So he actually comes into me differently. And that for those that don't really know, when I channel, I am a full body trance. I go into my voice changes, and I am Metatron, and he used to come into my solar plexus, and I hear him still through my solar plexus. He talks through my solar plexus, but I'd feel him come in and out of my solar plexus so strongly that it would be like, whoa. And now it's not. Now it's just, he's just there. So it's a very different relationship. He's a little bit more quiet, so to say, but always there. And we're always talking together. I always ask him questions. He's always answering. Sometimes I feel like I'm not hearing him, but that's when life gets very, very busy for me, and I'm not taking the time to hear. But I adore him. I have learned that he has been with me since I was born. So I was 3 months premature, and I was 2 pounds, and he came in there to sort of save me, and he's been with me ever since. And that relationship is such a loving and beautiful and tender one. I trust him and love him like I love my mother, who has since transitioned. It's just different. And he used to, when we first initially started channeling, would call me his little one. And when I referred that to when he would talk and he referred to me as his little one, many people took offense. They're like, she's not little. She's not, well, I'm only like 5'1", but she's not little. And he actually has changed that now to call me Anana'ai, which is my God-given name, so that people didn't take offense, because that name was an endearing term. His little one was because he's been with me since birth. I was his little one. But so we've changed that a little bit so that people understood a little bit better. And channeling has changed my life. I'm never lonely. Even if I'm alone, I'm never lonely. The want and desire to teach and to enlighten others is so great in me. You can only plant little seeds, and that is what I do. But if I have those that want to come to me, that want to learn, I'm not at the point where I teach channeling yet. Of course, that Wendy is absolutely incredible at doing that, but I certainly will mentor and I will enlighten and I will heal, and I'll do all those wonderful, beautiful things. And maybe one day in the future, God will say, okay, it's your turn, and you can teach as well. I would love to enlighten others. But it's just I love it. That's all I can tell you. I love it.
The channeling journey is extraordinary. There was a point when Wendy was channeling Metatron, when I asked, how would you describe channeling? We have it on video. James took a video of it. And the one thing that Metatron said is that it is a shortcut to enlightenment through transformation, and that it is the responsibility of us to do the taming of the ego in the channeling process.
Yes.
So that it is not us who are speaking, but we relinquish and surrender ourselves and our egos for guidance to come through us. And you do it really beautifully, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. I really love it. It's just a passion of mine. So I'm so thankful to you and to everyone, to Yvonne who brought me there, to Rob, your bubbliness and your just wonderment in all your writing, to everyone here, and to Wendy, and now Wendy and Connie, and I just want to just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and to Metatron, and I think Metatron, the divine, and God himself. It's just an incredible, incredible journey. And
when Wendy said, guess who Kelly is channeling? And I said, who? And she said, Metatron. And I'm like, oh my God, get out. And she said, yep, Metatron said, she's mine. And I've only ever seen him do that with one other person, who's Bernie.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you've met Bernie. Bernie's remarkable.
I believe I might have through Zoom. I might have.
Yeah, Bernie's really amazing. Bernie comes from a community where I actually met Joanne and Lloyd, called the Channeling Jesus Community, and Venka, where there's a woman by the name of Tina Spalding who is channeling Jesus, and her community is called Channeling Jesus. And about a year and 3 months ago almost, I came across her, and January 1 started that journey and met just the most extraordinary group of people. So this journey takes us far and takes us wide. Venki's calling in from Norway. We have people from London, Ontario. So we have people from Canada. We have people from England. We have people from Australia. We have people from all over. It's become this international. I mean, we all speak the same language of the soul,
Mm-hmm.
What has been the most remarkable growth? So it's been about 2 years now that you've seen within yourself since channeling Metatron.
The love for myself, the letting go of this perfection persona that I've kept for so many years, and just beat up myself over it, and learn that I'm okay no matter how I am. I don't have to be perfect. That God I am presence. I used to think that, well, I can't compare myself to God. How can I do that? Or even the divine. And Metatron keeps telling me over and over again, you're just as important as we are, just as all of us here on the planet are just as important as all of those in the divine. We all have our light. And the most important thing he said is, think of someone up in the universe is looking down on you and seeing your bright light just like you're seeing ours. And that goes for every single person here and every single person watching. It is amazing, the acceptance that I have for myself now. And that seems so silly. How can you not accept yourself? And how could you have struggled? But there's so many of us that struggle with self-love or whatever it might be. And that's been, I think, probably the biggest growth. Those fears and insecurities and self-love and all those human emotions that bring in negativity, those are washing away. They're not all gone. I'm still human, but they're washing away. And it's a beautiful thing to see me bloom out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are not in the slightest the same woman that I've known in the past 2 years. It's been beautiful to watch her soul.
Yeah. Every message is expansion, ascension, shift, change. I mean, we're you know, it's weird because we're on the inside looking out. We don't see the change, you know, but those on the outside see the change in us. You know, none of us are the same person we were 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years ago.
No.
The oracle classes we would do at the sanctuary.
Yes.
When Metatron would come, and just to see, I really, really have seen it in you. It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you explain the process for you is Metatron the only energy that you work with?
No, he's my primary energy.
Who else do you work with?
I've brought in the collective. I've brought in Ganesh. I've brought in Jesus, Mother Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious. There's many that come in to either teach me a lesson or my clients a lesson.
Beautiful.
And then they kind of go out. And the Kali Ma just came in. That was my newest. So I always tell Metatron, I'm like, you're my gatekeeper. If I need someone here, or if I'd like to channel another energy, you oversee. And that makes me feel very secure because I'm very, very trusting of Metatron. And like I said, I was always a little skittish, so maybe just a tiny bit remains. So I feel very safe with Metatron being my overseer.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I have that relationship with Hathor, and then everything, comes through her. Yeah, it's been really beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Your growth too, incredible. The way you channel Hathor and all of it's just amazing, amazing. And
daily, every morning at 8:30, people. If you're not tuning in to Lynn, you need to. Facebook every morning, 8:30. What day are you up to now? Like day 180?
No. We're on day 87 today.
87.
We're doing the 365 lessons of A Course in Miracles, and today's day 87.
Wow.
That's been a gorgeous journey.
So Kelly, expand upon when you say you're doing your healings with people. Tell everyone what you do.
Well,
be more specific in that.
I bring in Metatron, and then I call on anyone else that might need to, that could benefit whomever it is that I'm working with, and my beings and their beings. And I then we go to a healing temple. That is, if I'm doing a healing, we go to a healing temple, Metatron, and Metatron carries them to this healing temple, and we do a healing. Now, lately it's been Zoom healings because with COVID, that hands-on has sort of not happened. But and most people don't realize that energy travels anywhere. That if I have my hands on you or above you, or if I have my hands here and I'm sending energy, or they could be on my thighs really, and the intention is sending energy, and I'm working with you. How do you say? I'm working with you energetically. If you could picture yourself in a building, and I'm there, and Metatron's there, and your team of healers is there, and we are working with you there. That's it's so hard to try and get, if people can envision. And then I will take them also up to the grid, and we will do grid work, which means we can do psychic surgery. There's times that implants can be removed. Now, an implant is not an entity. An implant is something more physical. It can be a sword. It can be, oh goodness, anything that might be in your body that is blocking your energy from running smoothly. So we can take those out. We've taken entities out, mild entities. I will say that anything that we feel is very strong energy, a negative energy, I will refer out to someone else, because I just don't feel that that's our thing. We work a lot emotionally. We open up a lot of emotions. We've healed those with COVID and had really great responses with having fevers like drop down the next day. And again, in grid work, it's sort of like Metatron and I are taking your body, and we see it up in the universe, let's say. And if you think of grid paper, your body's sort of spread over grid paper, and we're working with different areas of your body that might need work. Let's say your teeth need work, or you have a pain somewhere in your abdomen, or your stomach is not right. There's just so many things that we work with. We send cooling energies to help those with stomach issues. I've worked with gold light with him that transforms into liquid gold and will go over your intestines. And every single healing is different, and it's all miraculous, really. It's just such a trip and such a journey, because I don't remember his words, but I remember the energy of the event, or the energy of the healing, and I remember every visual picture that he gives me. So I could describe to someone what just happened, or I could tell them while we're doing it, just by closing my eyes, and sometimes leaving them open and explaining what's going on. So it's a whole metaphysical healing, so to say.
Thank you. That's a wonderful explanation.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, when you go in and you're looking for attachments or blocks, do you end up in the Akashic record, or does that not play into this?
Not yet. I haven't gone back into past lives at this moment to see where they actually came from. We do go into, if I'm doing emotional work with someone, we will go into this lifetime. I have actually gone and done past lives with clients that and help them realize maybe where their blocks have come from, some of their fears have come from, some of the things that they're stuck in, but not usually while I'm in a healing. That's usually done a little bit separately. But that's something to look into, actually.
I have one more question, if I may.
Sure.
Because, a lot of us are big fans of Saint Germain, and Saint Germain uses the violet for so much.
Yes.
Do you, with Metatron, utilize the violet in your healing?
Yes.
Yes.
All the time. And
Okay.
actually, as I'm putting in my protection, I actually step into the violet light, or the violet flame of Saint Germain.
Okay.
And I envision myself just walking into it, and I am covered in his light. And yes, there's loads of violet that's used. He comes through quite a lot. Violet, gold, there are so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. It's really interesting. And when we do hands-on healing before COVID hit, and if those are comfortable now, when we can place hands, it's really quite remarkable, because then the senses of mediumship kick in, and we can see their deceased loved ones at their feet. We can see them smoking and smell the smoke. When we're working with those that might have, let's say, cancer, we can taste the cancer, we can taste the chemo, we've tasted COVID, and everything tastes differently. It's just amazing what happens during healings.
Does anyone have any questions? I know, I think Deborah, who put up yes, Deborah had a question, didn't she, Lynn?
Deborah wanted to know, would it be possible for you to channel for us for a moment and bring through a message?
Oh, I'm sure. 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 I could do that. You'd like me to do that now?
Yeah, please do.
That would be delightful, babe.
Okay, hang on for me.
Okay.
Well, as we say, we'll see you on the flip side.
Right now, Kelly's doing an invocation, aligning her chakras to bring in the energy.
Mm. Mm. Namaste, beloveds.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome.
Namaste.
Namaste, Metatron.
Mm. It is such a blessing to have you all gathered. And my dear Lynn, thank you for this platform on which you can spread joy, which you can spread the word, which you can spread the light.
My honor.
Earlier, Robert spoke of light quotient, increasing light quotient. And if anyone knows, I am extremely, extremely big on increasing your light quotient daily. I find it imperative that one helps to fight the negative energies that are here on your planet. And it is as easy as just asking, well, one of the tools, I should say, is as easy as just asking for your light quotient to be raised. I know those beautiful oracle classes that Malestra taught with myself. That is beautiful Wendy Gale's God-given name as well. We spoke of increasing your light quotient way back then. And now with all that is going on, we ask that light quotient not be increased by 10%, 12%, not even 100 or 200%. We are asking for you to increase your light quotient by 1,000 or 2,000% daily. You will not explode. It will not harm your body. You will be radiating light. And when you radiate light, what happens? There is less room for darkness. So if you could all please remember to increase your light quotient, make it daily, just like Rob sends out his little text message. Make it daily. Try and plant seeds for those you love and those around you, and especially those in the spiritual community that would understand how imperative it is to raise the light here on your planet. So I ask that you plant seeds and that you spread the word to others to please increase their light quotients if they may.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you. That's
so much.
fantastic. Fantastic
you.
advice.
You are
Thank you.
very welcome. You are very welcome. Now, of course, everyone is on their own journey. Each and every one of you have different journeys, and they are perfect just the way they are. You will grow, you will learn. Each and every one of you are different, and that is totally the way it should be. So when I ask you to plant seeds or to advise others, you can say Metatron said for it would be wonderful for you to increase your light quotient. You can blame it on me, so to say, but be forceful, just be gentle and say, you might want to try increasing your light quotient, for it will be very beneficial for you and the planet.
Thank you. That's
You're
perfect.
very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will get the word out.
Thank you.
It's an etheric currency.
Indeed. Indeed.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Metatron.
You're
Thank you.
very welcome.
Very
Any,
true.
any other questions? Anything before I bring this beloved's body back to her?
Is there anything that we can do to assist Milestra with her healing journey right now?
I know she asked to be sort of let be almost, to have healings sort of more subside. I think prayers and holding her in her wholeness, seeing her as the beautiful, beautiful, vibrant woman that she is, rather than being in fear of her illness. Keep her in your prayers, keep her in your love, hold her as well as just that perfect being that she is.
Indeed.
Does that resonate?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's fair to say that so many who were focused actually on her condition and not her healing was actually detrimental to her healing.
Indeed. Indeed.
Okay. Because the request that came from her was strange in that sense of holding the prayers, but now I understand, Lynn. I guess now it makes sense to everybody. Okay. So see her well,
Indeed.
see her healed, expect her healed. That's
See
our
her
creation,
well.
right?
Indeed.
So create
Indeed.
healed Wendy.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Indeed.
Beautiful.
She has said through myself, our words have been to, let's say, somebody who is ill and might be terminal or may have some form of cancer, and it is not certain whether they are going to transition or stay in this lifetime. We have said together, Milestra and myself, that they are living, they are not dying. Right now, they are living, and to focus on them living. So since she and I have said that time and time and time again to others, she would want you all to think of her as living and as whole and as vibrant and not as ill, and hold her in that beautiful space. That is what I believe would be something that she would approve of.
Thank you. That was
You
a
are
powerful
very-
lesson, very powerful lesson.
Yeah,
to
that's
all of us.
perfect.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Anything
Powerful
else?
wisdom.
Would anyone else like to ask a question of Metatron while we have his attention with us?
Thank you.
Where do I go from here?
Where do you go from here?
Yes.
Well, I wanted to thank you for your beautiful love of God and spreading your word and the word of He to others. I think you should continue on that beautiful, beautiful route to continue to enlighten and love and spread our word. Try to teach others that there is so much more than what seems to be here on the planet.
Yes.
There are many ways of, as I say, planting seeds, of helping others, of showing others. Some will learn visually, some will learn by speech, some will learn just by having something happen to them and they happen to see or just know that there is something more out there. Just continue to let those know that there is more out there, so much more, and that they are never, never alone. There are so many that feel that they are so alone, but if they just ask for our help, that they will know that there is so much more out there. See, or just, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. Bless you.
And God bless you as well, my
Kelly,
dear.
someone was just asking, Metatron, someone was just asking, how do you go about increasing your light quotient? Could you explain that process?
Indeed. It's as easy as asking. You do not need to know really even what it is, but just ask to have your light quotient increased. Just say, whomever you believe in, the universe, if one has a being that they resonate with, Archangel Michael, myself, God, whatever being that is more than just here on this earth physically, ask to have your light quotient increased. And you will be surprised. Those that first start will feel a little bit of tingles. And some people do not, and that is okay too. But if you're sensitive, you will feel energy. So it's as easy as just asking. And truly what light quotient is if you think of a beautiful, beautiful, we'll say a spotlight, for those that may not believe in God or for whatever, think of a beautiful beam of light, like sunlight is beaming down on you. And think that you could bring that sunlight into your body. You could bring some of that beautiful light, whether it be source light, sunlight, however you want to envision it. It does not have to be white. It does not have to be gold. Whatever colors come to your mind, think of that beautiful light shining down on you. And think of your body just absorbing. You do not have to open your crown. You do not have to open your chakras. Just think of your body just absorbing all this light inside of you. It is the easiest way to think of things for those that are not as attuned to spirituality or to chakras, or just think of your body as a sponge absorbing all this beautiful, beautiful light. And as that light penetrates and permeates your body, think of it sort of pushing out anything that does not belong, anything that does not resonate, any negative energy, any fears, anything that just is holding you back. And think of yourself now as a beaming light bulb. And you can increase your light quotient 100%, and you can be at a percentage. Think of a dimmer switch on a beautiful big spotlight. And if you put 100%, you are at the dimmer, the smaller part of that beautiful light. But if you increase that dimmer switch all the way up, think of how bright that light is. And the more light you bring in, the more light you give out. Think of, not only are you bringing light in, you are then, without even realizing, shining your big, beautiful, bright light out onto every individual. And people might come across you and they may say, something about that person makes me want to be around them, makes me want to get to know them more. Or there's something about that person that, I just don't understand. And you are shining your light. You are shining your brightness. You are shining us on them, as well as your own beautiful brightness. For you are just as important as we. Please remember that in everything, you all are just as important as we. Not only the people here on this platform, but everybody listening to this beautiful show. You are all as important as we are above.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
That was
You're
fantastic.
Thank you.
I remember
Thank you.
when you said to us, Metatron, that in some part of the universe, there is a being, there is a planet of whatever, that in which they see us the way that we see Jesus.
Indeed.
You know, like we are the Christed being for that universe, for that planet.
Indeed.
And that, I remember, I was like, wow. You know, it's a whole new perspective.
Yes, indeed. This beloved one felt the same way. It was like, whoa. And it makes you, if you can think of that, if you can think of yourself as not small, you all are not small. You are all important and integral. And if you can think that in that perspective, that those on another planet, those in the universe, those up, look at you just as importantly and see you in the same type of light as you see us. How important does that change somebody? If they could only believe that. How beautiful a thought that is. And how, yes.
I never thought that way, but now I'm going to start.
Good.
Right?
Good, my dear Robert. Your writings are incredible, incredible. We so thank you for what you put out. We so thank you. This beloved one enjoys your writings as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you again.
I look forward to being with you again.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Anything else before I go or I step back? I am never gone.
Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
Well, Metatron, I have to say, I don't believe that we've connected with my pen and paper in quite some time. So I guess I'll be dialing you up.
I was going to say, just ask. If you ask, I will be there. You will see. I will be
We'll be talking this week.
Good. I look forward to it. I will have very interesting things to tell you.
Oh, excellent. That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Namaste to all.
Namaste.
And thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
That was beautiful. Uh-oh, you all right, Lynn? Okay.
Yeah, just tired.
Kelly. Wow.
That was gorgeous, Kelly.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. Very informative. Very informative.
Just gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys got what you needed.
Do you recall these when they happen, or do you have to play them back?
I would have to play them back.
Okay.
If somebody said to me, oh, you and Metatron said X, Y, and Z, I probably could possibly recall it right now. Ask me in a half an hour.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call it the dream that's like in front of your face and then it slips off the back of your head and it's like it's gone.
Yes.
And like you were like, I knew there was a dream, but I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
a
I
very
can see.
important takeaway
Yeah,
from your message that you just delivered beautifully. Thank you.
you're very
Was
welcome.
when we are notified or informed of someone having a condition that could potentially be fatal or whatever, just ill. Not to focus on that, only to focus on the person
Focus on
being
their
healed.
wellness. Yeah.
Because when everyone worries about it, they're freezing that person in that spot because they're focusing on the condition and not the whole person again. And that was the message that was conveyed with regard to Wendy.
Yes.
Her request of not, enough with the prayers, but it didn't make, to me, I'm like, well, why wouldn't someone want to be, have prayers? But it was holding her from moving forward in her healing. And that was the message. And it goes for her as well as for everyone. When we hear that, it's focused on that person being healed and not the condition or the symptoms or the treatment that they have to go through. Focus on them healed. That was the message.
Right. Well, she and Metatron relayed that to me. Oh, goodness. I think when I started working with people with cancer, and Metatron was very strong about think of them as whole. Don't think of them as dying. Don't think of them. They're living now in this moment. I can see Wendy say it. I can see Metatron say it. They're living in this moment. So think of them as living in this moment. And that's such an important thing. And it is. Normally you hear somebody with something going on and you're like, oh, and you think, oh, they're dying. But no, they're living. So rejoice in their living, rejoice in, and it can be anyone in any circumstance, rejoice in their living. And even my daughter suffers from anxiety and depression. And Metatron has told me constantly, think of her as whole, think of her as exactly the way that, not that I want her to be, because that's my picture of her, but think of her as
innocent.
That's exactly it. That's your picture of her. Right. So just by saying those two words just now, you've added more into that energy. Exactly what.
Correct. So just
if we saw them through the eyes of innocence.
Well, right.
Yep, that's the key.
Yeah.
Kelly, thank you so much for being with us.
You're very welcome.
Fantastic.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was our delight.
Talking again, definitely.
Rob, as always, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who joined us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody out there on Facebook. It was great to have you guys with us.
Next
we'll
Sunday.
Back again next Sunday.
Next Sunday is Easter. I thought we weren't doing a show on Easter.
Well, hold on one sec. Let me take a quick look at my
calendar. Take a look. I think Steve, we had moved him off of Easter. Well, everybody wants to click in.
I put Lynn Gerhardt in. So Lynn's going to be here and I will be hosting her. Lynn Gerhardt is an extraordinary artist. In fact, one of her pieces is hanging right behind Kelly's head. Lynn Gerhardt, oh my God. I wrote to Lynn Gerhardt this morning and sent her a picture of the jewelry that I was wearing that she had made me. And she goes, I had this visitation and I tried to paint it, but I don't really think I did it justice. This was what she painted. Isn't that amazing?
Very cool.
And she goes, I can't get it exactly. And I literally said to her, ask them to help you paint who you saw. And then I got full goosebumps, like this being showed up. And she said, oh my God, I forgot that we could do that. So, whoever this little guy is visiting her and she's going to continue to paint him. So she'll be here next week and it'll be an amazing, amazing show. Because not only does she do painting, but she also channels when she does jewelry. So extraordinary. Really, really. I have both a painting of Hathor that she did and also one that she did of my higher self. And I've referred so many people to her. She's extraordinary. So she actually will be with us next Sunday. And if you won't be here, Rob, I totally understand. I actually have a company that's coming as well for Easter. Joanne's going to be coming. We're going to have a little Easter brunch.
All right.
But, Kelly and I will be here. I mean, Lynn and I will be
Lynn.
here. The Lynn and Lynn show. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here tonight. Much love to all of you, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Bye, everyone.
Great week.
Thank
And
you.
remember, 1,000% on the like quotient. At least 1,000, maybe 2.
Yes.
All right.
You know,
Maybe 2.
I started with 33% with Jesus, and then recently he said 333, and then during tonight's thing he said 3,333.
There you go.
I have an alarm in my phone every single day at 11:11. I pause and I ask him to increase my light quotient, so I can't wait for that 3,000 booster.
That's kicking it up a
awesome.
notch. All right.
I am. That's right, baby. I can handle it.